Healthy. All right, thank you. I'd like to thank the group from Lutuka that had that first song for us this evening. Thank you, Lutuka Youth, for that awesome gospel song. Now it's time for us to sing along. I'm so glad I'm a part of the family of God. Are you? So do I. Let us sing together. I'm so glad I'm a part of the family of God. I've been washed in the fountain, cleansed by His blood. Join hands with Jesus as we travel this sword for a part of the family of God. You will know this, we say, brothers and sisters round here. It's because we are family, and this folks are so near. When one has a heartache, we all share the tears and rejoice in His victory in this family so near. Together, I'm so glad I'm a part of the family of God. I've been washed in the fountain, cleansed by His blood. Join hands with Jesus as we travel this road for a part of the family of God. Ladies only, please. From the door of an orphanage to the house of the King, no longer an outcast, a new song I sing. Tell her, join in, please. From rations to riches, from the weak to the strong, I'm not worthy to be here, but with God I belong. Bass come together in the chorus. I'm so glad I'm a part of the family of God. I've been washed in the fountain, cleansed by His blood. Join hands with Jesus as we travel this road for a part of the family of God. For a part of the family of God. That was awesome. Now let us sing Shackled by a Heavy Burden to be our last number before we sing the theme song. Benaka.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you for that smile. Thank you. I will not give any report about what I do. I'll just briefly tell you what I do at the union, then I'll pass over the microphone to the principal and his deputy, principal of Fulton College. My role is at the union, I am the ministerial secretary, and I serve the pastors, elders, deacons, and deaconesses. Although I also serve in other departments, but that's basically my role. And what I do, I assist, I equip, I train, I resource ministers and elders and deacons and deaconesses in the field. But my main role is to make sure that the vision and the mission of our union is promoted and also implemented in the local churches and the local missions. One of my roles is to liaise and to work with Fulton College, especially in the ministerial training, with regards to the training of the theological training of the students. And so because of that, I would like to hand over the microphone to the principal and his deputy to give us a brief report, because they need more time than myself. You have seen me so many times over here, and I hope you know what I'm doing. So I would like to give this time to the principal. Thank you so much, Dr. Clint Carlo.
Thank you, Ron. Too loud. Thank you, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank the organizers for allowing Fulton to just give a small promotion of education. So I'm really grateful that Ron, I begged with him this afternoon. I said, please, don't just give me 5 minutes, because 5 minutes not enough to promote education. So thank you, Ron, Dr. Ron, for accommodating us. One of the big responsibility of an education institution like Fulton is to provide education to the church members and the public. And there are some very strong benefits of Adventist education that I'd like to go through with you this short time. Now, I quickly tried to put something together this afternoon, so I hope it all comes out good. I'm just giving you some reference there so that you know that it's not something that I've made up or plagiarized, because I'm in an education institution. I have to be academically honest. So I've taken much of the materials of this presentation from those three sources. It's a slightly bigger version of a presentation that I presented at the Suvavu Adventist mission. Just for my curiosity, I've got 3 questions there, and I'd like you to put your hands up if you fit into one of those 3 categories. How many of you here tonight have not attended any Adventist education system or school at all, and you are here as an Adventist? Put your hands up. Quite a few of you. You've not attended any Adventist schools, but you're a strong lay church member. That's good. How many of you? Not so many. It's interesting. And how many of you have had 7 to 13 years in an Adventist education institution? I can see Bev. A little bit more than the second category. I think a little bit more than the first. But tonight, I'd like to emphasize the benefits of being in an Adventist education system. And then towards the end, I want to have a short agreement with all of you. Ellen G. White tells us that the Adventist education is a mission, really. The work of education and the work of redemption are one. And that's found in Education, page 30. Oh, by the way, some of the slides that I might show you tonight may be something that our education director for the TPUM may have covered, but as they say, repetition brings emphasis. So if I repeat some of it, please just bear with me. The Adventist Educationist mission reaffirms the central role of Adventist education in the evangelistic mission of the church. Now, you'll be interested to know that the longest evangelistic event takes place in an educational institution, right? Because here we are with the students 24/7. If they're day students, we are here with them good part of about 8 hours a day. So in that hours of contact, that's where evangelism takes place. So the schools, our Adventist schools, they are the evangelistic center that it takes the longest time to undertake, right? You know, in evangelistic mission, you run 2-3 weeks and that's it. Whereas we in the schools, we have them throughout the year. So evangelism does take place in the Adventist schools the longest. And it's the desire of all committed Adventist parents that they want good quality education. They want their children to remain in the Adventist faith. They want the children and themselves to be strong, practicing Adventists, all in preparation for Christ's coming. And you are all parents. A lot of you are parents. You desire that of your children. Professor David Williams, now we met him at this recent workshop we had in Bangkok. And some of us were fortunate to attend that. Now he's a black person from the West Indies, and he went right through the Adventist education system, and he now works at Harvard. When he introduced himself and he presented his presentation, he went through his presentation, and before he started, he said, thank you to all of us, the delegates. And he praised and he confirmed Adventist education because he went right through the Adventist education system, graduating in Loma Linda and Andrews, and he was able to find his way, now a professor at Harvard. So don't knock Adventist education back. That's what he said to us. And he is one that is a strong promoter of Adventist education. And he says, Seventh-day Adventist church members, they've come of age education. And some of them now believe that the Adventist Christian education is not good enough for their children. I don't know how many of you here have that kind of mentality. But this is what he's come up with in his research. He says that they want to get their children to the Harvards and Yales of this world. They believe that Adventist schools do not provide the academic rigor to make have their children very competitive in today's world. So he says that many Seventh-day Adventist parents are using secular criteria to determine what is best for their children. And this is what he said. What shall it profit someone to gain the finest education the world has to offer and lose his own soul? The importance of Adventist education insofar as retaining students in our church membership is very important. Not only does Adventist education develop students holistically, it works to keep the students in tune with their Creator. And this relationship appears not only affect the here and now, but research shows, and I will go through some slides to demonstrate to you that it impacts the student in their life by retaining them in the church. So this is research finding by Taylor, John Wesley Taylor, and he says here, I want you to watch the slides carefully. He says here that those who attend Adventist school and the chances of them getting baptized is higher when they have spent more than 11 years in the Adventist education system. You see, no Adventist education system, about 59% of them baptized. 11 plus years in Adventist education, higher, 96.9% of them get baptized if they continue for 11 or more years of education in an Adventist school. School attendance and church membership, there it shows again, those who have spent at least 12 years up to grade 12 in an Adventist education system, 100% of them join the church. Now this is research done in the United States, but similar results, I'm sure, if we did it here in the Pacific, we'll have similar outcomes. Retention of youth, when they spend more than, after 10 years, 91% of them still remain in the church if they've had Adventist education. Church attendance. If the students have had more than 11 years of schooling in an Adventist education system, 90.7% of them would still regularly attend church. Baptism, there you see again, about 70% of the students who attend Adventist schools get baptized. Church membership, if they've spent about 12 years, 12 grades of Adventist education, 98.2% of them would still remain as Adventist church members. So in essence, Adventist education is mission. Through Adventist education, children and youth experience accession, retention, and ultimately redemption. So the summary of those findings really is saying this to us, that Adventist education is a consistent and important predictor of children and youth joining and remaining in the Adventist church. Ellen White observes that in the highest sense, the work of education and work of redemption are one. Just go through this very quickly. Predictors of SDA youth being committed, they are youth who view the church as relevant to their lives. The Sabbath service in church are interesting. The church meets their spiritual needs, and the church meets their social needs. They are good predictors of SDA youth being committed to the church. A grace orientation towards salvation. Someone with a grace orientation believes that salvation is based on what Jesus has done, not on what I do. And attending an SDA college. All right? There are three barriers that barriers of children not attending Adventist school. And barrier number one is many children and youth from Seventh-day Adventist homes are not attending Adventist schools. As I said, you know, church members now are wanting their children to attend better schools, so they think that attending an Adventist school, the quality of education they receive there is not so good, so they are attending outside schools. And some of them, of course, are not close to Adventist schools, so they are not attending Adventist. They're sending their kids to non-Adventist schools. Over half of our church members globally, they report that they have not had any experience in Adventist education system. They've not gone through Adventist schools. You'll see 17% only attended primary school, 17% only attended secondary school, and about 12.75% they attend tertiary Adventist colleges, university. But more than half have not attended any Adventist schools at all. All of our youth, Ellen White says, should be permitted to have education at our schools so that they can become inspired to be laborers together with God. So that we get more student educators proactively youth joining and remaining in the church. So you as go part by promoting Adventist education. Many teachers in Adventist schools are not members of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. I think that is not so much in some countries in the Pacific, but I know Fiji, there is quite a few non-Adventists now teaching in our Adventist schools. So if we can get more Adventist teachers teaching in our Adventist schools, we will increase the number of students attending schools. Now, I need to skip some of these slides. Let me just... Barrier number 3. Many pastors are not aware of the evangelistic role of the Adventist education or are convinced of its efficacy. So pastors and lay people, you need to support Adventist education because of the results in the long term. It allows students who have gone through the system to remain in the church, which is what we as parents want for our children. And part of the reason why some pastors believe this way is because many of them have not attended Adventist education throughout their career. They may be converted or they're pastors of other church, and when they join, they become pastors. And some of them, like some lay people too, are not immersed in the Adventist education, hence may not see the need of students attending our Adventist schools. Sorry, I have to go a bit fast here. So our agreement tonight, I want you and I to agree tonight that you will go back and you will promote Adventist education in your churches. I want you to agree with me tonight that you will do your level best to encourage your church members to send their children to Adventist schools. And at Fulton, for those wanting to pursue a primary teaching degree, business studies, or theology, we have it here at Fulton. Other courses, yes, we don't have it, so they can attend other tertiary institutions. But if there is any students in your church, in your churches, who are interested in pursuing a primary teaching degree or business studies degree or theology, we offer it here at Fulton. And you know what? We had a workshop here some months back, last year, and these government ministry, people from the Ministry of Education here in Fiji came as resource persons. And what they said, and this is common knowledge to the Fijians, but being a new principal, I stood on my toes when they mentioned this, that the best primary teachers in Fiji are graduates of Fulton College. Amen? Yes. So the quality of our primary teachers coming out of Fulton is high, and it's recognized by the ministry. And so those who have gone before me, former principals, and now we're working towards maintaining that high quality of education here at Fulton. So that's our agreement. Please, we want to increase the number of Adventist students here at Fulton. And you can help us out in your churches by agreeing with me tonight that when you go out, you will promote Adventist education, encourage the parents to send their students here. Because, as I showed you the slides, the longer they stay within the education system, the greater the chance that they will retain and be committed church members just like each of you here at, in the Adventist faith. I want to close with this little verse from Proverbs. We all know it. Let's all read it together. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. May God bless each one of you as you go back to your churches and as you promote Adventist education. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Daryl Michael, and I come from the West. I work for the Western Provincial Government as the town clerk for Gizo Town Council, our only small provincial capital. But I was asked to share my testimony as a lay person with the ministry that me and my family actually had in Gizo. And so I'll ask our media team for the next 4 minutes, just so that that's where my testimony is. I'd like to share with you this evening. And then after that, I'll just close it off and, yeah.
We are right here in the One Life radio studio. It looks quite simple, yet quite effective. Yes, in 2015, Daryl informed me, I was in Papua New Guinea, and he told me of his dream of establishing a radio studio. I was quite excited about it when I heard it. I knew that God had implanted in his heart the desire to start up this particular ministry. And so he actually did it. He built the house, you know, he used his own resources, money, and other people helped. And he told me that he was going to order the radio kit, studio kit from China, which he did. And it came and he built up the studio. And now it's operating, and he had been broadcasting sermons and songs to the surrounding township and islands around near Gizo in the western province of Solomon Islands. And I've been blessed by the ministry, and I think and I believe that this One Life Radio ministry will grow and it will develop, because God has a plan in this particular avenue through which the gospel message will be proclaimed to other people. It has been a blessing to me personally to be part of this radio ministry, and I believe God will continue to bless One Life Radio ministry so that it will bless many more people, hundreds of lives, those who are listening on and tuning on to Radio One Life in this part of Solomon Islands. May God bless all of us as we continue to serve God in various ways.
Me one church member, Seventh-day Adventist Church. Me been got a problem. Me disabled, and then me stay long house. I think over 2 years now. But through this radio ministry, me opening a radio Gulomia. Now me listen. No every message, no song or no preaching, no health message, and no voice of prophecy. And all kind of preachers around the world was talk through this radio One Life ministry.
Right, I have a lot to share about this ministry, and in our mission we have media as part of the focus. We believe that even if I can do it, I'm just like you. And if you need more information how this was actually established, we are happy to support you. I've been to Tonga a couple of years back, and Tonga is a nice place for this kind of setup. And if you're interested, we are willing to support you with this kind of effort. Just last thing, December last year, my family spent a holiday in East Malaita. We went and set up one FM radio station right up in the interior of East Malaita in the bush. And we set it up for Atoifi Adventist Hospital to operate using solar. And before June of this year, we will be setting up two in Malaita again. One in Takwa, that's Pastor George Auna's place, and the other one will be in Auki Town. So it's exciting, and we have more plans to spread it out to other parts of the Solomons. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. Good evening, God's family. Thank you. I'd like to welcome all of you this evening who are coming on our meeting every night and day. I believe that God's blessing has been upon us as those leaders sharing God's message to us. I believe as we go back to our various churches, you will carry those messages to your church and share it with your church. Tonight also I'd like to welcome our guest speaker who will be sharing our message tonight. I believe whatever he shares with us tonight, may God's blessing be upon us as we prepare for his soon return. Thank you.